Inspires Me, a show about wellness, amazing people, and information to inspire you to take charge of your life and your health. MS, or multiple sclerosis, is a chronic and debilitating condition that affects millions worldwide, for which there is no cure. I met my next guest at the National Fitness Hall of Fame, where he was inducted for his work as a fitness educator. David Lyons, who was diagnosed with MS in 2006, didn't let that stop him from competing in bodybuilding, despite the challenges. After proving that fitness has a positive impact on some of the symptoms of MS, together with his wife, Kendra, David went on to found the MS Fitness Challenge. This organization is dedicated to supporting people with MS and fitness professionals worldwide in an effort to educate and train them in the benefits of exercise, nutrition, and mindset in winning the battle against MS. David, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah, I was really glad. I know we talked last year, and I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this. And so what I wanted to think the best thing to start off for some of the folks who may not be familiar, what is MS?
Well, that's a great question, because I had no idea what it was either when I was diagnosed.
Sure.
When the doctor said, you've got multiple sclerosis, I looked at him and I said, what does that mean? So it's not a disease that everybody seems to know about. You know, muscular dystrophy has been out there for so many years with Jerry Lewis, so people know that. I mean, we all know what cancer is, but with MS, it was kind of a disease that people heard of, but wasn't sure what it was. So to make it simple for you guys, MS is a disease of the nervous system, and it means that your body is considering your own nervous system as the enemy, and it's attacking itself. So it slowly and sometimes rapidly eats away the myelin sheath, which is the covering of the nerves that connect one part of your brain to the other. So when that myelin sheath is eaten away, you no longer have that connection, which means that you maybe can't feel your hand, or you can't move your leg, or wherever that disconnect is. That is what MS is. It's a degenerative and progressive, incurable disease of the nervous system.
And that's an important part, like you said, David, incurable at this time. We don't really have a cure, but you have to live with the symptoms right now.
Right.
So you found out in 2006. You were 47 years old at the time?
Yep, I was a young buck. I'm old now, but it was 14 years ago. I'm going to be 62 this year. I was 47 at the time.
Yeah.
I was in amazing condition. I'd been a bodybuilder and martial artist, boxer my whole life, so I was always in the gym.
Right.
And I was working out in the gym, and I started feeling symptoms that I had no idea what those symptoms were, other than I was having pain and numbness and tingling and issues in my left arm. Over time, within a few months, it spread throughout my whole body. And I became so incapacitated that I needed someone to help me walk and move. I was literally paralyzed from the chest down, where I could not coordinate anything I was doing. And at that point, I was rushed to the hospital, and within 5 days diagnosed with MS.
How scary.
Yeah, it was. It was a shock.
Wow. And, you being a fitness professional, most of your life, now you're facing something at that time when they sat you down and said, hey, you got MS. I read somewhere you said that you were even told that you might not be able to walk again.
Well, the doctor, the fourth day I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital for 5 days. On the fourth day, the doctor basically said, you've got this disease. They did all these tests. They did spinal tap. They did MRIs, did all these things. The doctor said to me, at the pace and the stage that you're in with this disease, because you didn't immediately come in here and take care of it, you just let it keep attacking your body over a 2-month period, you're at the point where you will be in a wheelchair within 6 months. There's so much damage to your nervous system at this point. I had, at that time, they found, I think it was 4 lesions in the spine,
Yeah.
and maybe a dozen in the brain. Now I have a lot more than that, but that alone, and with the symptoms, the doctor said, you're going to be in a wheelchair. And I said, no, I said, doc, medicine, and that's great, but you don't know my God. And I don't believe that's the direction God has me in. But it was a scary diagnosis and prognosis from the doctor.
It goes to show you too, just how much we think we know, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I love it. I love that story. And that's exactly one of the things that, because fast forward right here, you are, you didn't let that diagnosis become, a limitation for you. So
No.
yeah. So it sounds like you said, okay, screw this, I'm going to push anyway.
Yeah, I did. But here's, the downside to all that is when I was diagnosed and I was released from the hospital, I had to understand what MS was and what this community of people with MS go through. So I went on the internet and it was just so negative. And I was reading about all these people as, oh, my life is over and all these things. And, I wish I was dead. And I read constantly, no matter how positive you are, no matter how faith-filled you are, you get to the point of reading and hearing all of this negativity. And then every time I went to a doctor's appointment, basically they were trying to put me on medication, which I wouldn't take, and telling me that I was crazy for not taking it and that I was going to basically be a cripple. It does weigh on you when you start kind of having this mindset of, now what? My life, maybe it is over. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these doctors are right. Maybe this is it for me. So it took me literally about a year, almost a year and a half, of dealing with this back and forth in my brain of, I'm strong and I've got, God in my life and I'm going to beat this. And then that other side saying, well, look at what the facts are about MS. Right. But after that time, Michael, I got to this point where I looked in the mirror and I said, am I a fighter or aren't I a fighter? Why am I listening to that negative voice in my brain? And I felt God just leading me saying, get into the gym. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Beat it through fitness. And that's exactly what I started doing.
That's amazing. So obviously at some point your symptoms were getting worse. You went back, you had to make some changes obviously too. So, and we started to talk about that before the show. With your education that you were doing with learning about MS, you probably had to learn about nutrition, I'm guessing too.
Well, yes and no. I have a degree in nutrition, so I do have a BS in nutrition.
Yeah.
And I understood how the body works. I understood inflammation. I understood what causes inflammation in the body. So I was pretty much a step ahead, but I did have to learn specifically, what are people doing with nutrition for MS? And that's where I ran into people like Matt Embry, whose father Ashton Embry created the Best Bed diet specifically for MS because Matt has MS. Dr. Terry Walls, who's an MD who has MS, who created the Walls protocol. And I started reading about that and started adapting what I knew and what they're teaching to how I wanted to live as a bodybuilder with MS. Bodybuilding is a whole different animal. So as a bodybuilder, you're somewhat contradictory of an MS diet. So I had to find that balance between not causing inflammation, still getting in my 5 and 6 meals a day and all my protein drinks and all that, and staying with an MS type of baseline. So it was a learning curve for me, but luckily I had a great nutrition background and was able to apply it.
That's fantastic. Okay, so that's good. But there must be some things, I imagine, and people can look into it for themselves, but any basic things that you would say that people typically would eat or do that they probably shouldn't if they have MS?
Well, absolutely. Dairy products are a no for MS because dairy in itself is very inflammatory. Gluten, you want to stay away from gluten because most people with MS are gluten intolerant. You want to stay away from sugar because sugar itself is an inflammatory. And here's something that people don't really know is that things like sucralose that are artificial sugars that they touted as being an actual natural replacement is not a natural replacement. And anything that's artificial, whether it's an artificial sugar, a sweetener, artificial flavor, artificial colors, and a lot of this stuff is in bodybuilding supplements.
Yeah.
So I had to make sure I eliminated all of that. And it was very hard. It was hard to find companies that had this. And one thing I did learn that I didn't know is that whey protein, which was what I was drinking twice a day, is a milk product.
Yep.
So I was actually drinking inflammation. Yep. So, and Matt Embry taught me about that because he really understood a little bit more than I did about MS dieting. So we eliminated that and I started feeling even better. And I started supplementing with egg white protein, plant-based protein, collagen protein, and I never drink whey protein at all.
Interesting. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you learn as you go.
Well, yeah, it's a journey. And, you know, and I love that. I always love hearing stories of people who face adversity, look at it and know that it's not going to be an easy journey, but realize there are options. And I think that's what you embraced, as opposed, because you said it very well. You were looking at, there's a lot of negativity out there. The odds are stacked against you. Now that you know that you have this disease, you could succumb to the negativity. But instead, you said, something that's going to serve me better, to focus on what I know best, health and nutrition, and help alleviate some of the symptoms. So as you progressed through this, at what point did you start noticing that some of your symptoms were getting better?
Well, it took time for that, and it was an up and downhill road. So sometimes it was hard and it was uphill, and then sometimes it was easier and it was downhill. With MS, it's such a snowflake disease is what we call it, where everybody's different. We all have different symptoms, and from one day to the next, you can have a whole different feeling. So there were days that I felt really great. There were days that I pushed myself a little too hard in the gym and I felt really bad. Now, what I did do, which was a little bit crazy at the time, is I was heading towards being 50 years old. And I said, I'm going to compete in a bodybuilding competition with MS. And my doctor, and I've got him on video in one of my documentaries, actually saying, I don't advise this. This is not a good thing to do. But I would push myself really too hard. I actually tore my pec, which could never be repaired. I've torn hamstrings. I've torn a muscle in my abdominals. I don't know when to stop. And that's just how I am. I tell people, don't do as I do as I say.
Yeah.
Because for me, I was doing this to make a point. And the point was that if you want something, whether you have MS or whether you have diabetes or whether you're facing obesity or whatever it is that you're going through, whatever that challenge is, even emotionally if it's a challenge, that if you set your mind to something, you could plow right through that obstacle. And, I don't tell people to go to the extreme that I did because I've learned now, I just recently, believe it or not, I tore my left hamstring slightly. But that wasn't really because I was pushing too hard. It was just because that hamstring is a little bit weaker. But I knew the minute it started to tear, that's it, leave the gym, and I've been healing. And now I feel better. I'm going to go back and start doing legs. Whereas before, I would have completely just kept pushing and torn the whole thing off. So I've learned how to back off a little bit. And I tell people, you got to look at your limits. And you don't want to limit yourself as far as goals go, but you've got to make those incremental, small sets of goals that you have. And during that, you have to be careful not to push yourself to the point of injury or even an MS exacerbation. You don't want to push yourself too far, but it's great to have high goals and small goals along the way.
You need that. You need to challenge yourself. Well, as Gilad said in one of his shows, you need to push yourself to your point of your own limitation, not to the point of pain. And I guess pain is relative, but you knew your limitation, saying, okay, and plus us being older now too, we can't do, we don't want to accept it. We can't always do what we used to.
Yeah, I try not to accept that one. I'm always saying, I'm going to be 62, but I'm really working on 32. So, I go to the gym, to be honest with you, with the same intensity that I did when I was healthy and I was in my 20s and 30s. There are guys that have trained with me who are in their 20s and 30s who couldn't keep up with training with me, and that's with MS. But, my whole life has been in the gym. So when somebody is just starting out and they've never done this before, I don't tell them to go to those type of limits because it's, that's not smart. But for me, this is where I live. I live in the gym.
Right.
So of course I'm going to push myself the same way that I always push myself, and I don't let my age and I don't let my disease limit the way I take my workouts.
That's beautiful. I like the way you said that. So a lot of your clients, though, that you have, and we'll fast forward here kind of into your foundation, but I would imagine a lot of your clients have never been into fitness or done bodybuilding. So that must be something you're always having to take in consideration as you're working with them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 95% of people that enroll in either one of my 12-week one-on-one, challenges or our 8-week online programs, or they come to my training camp, whatever. They're not people that are exercising. These are people that want to exercise, that need to be taught how to exercise.
Yep.
I just left a woman that I trained this morning who's been with me now. We're on our 8th week of our 12-week challenge here.
Yep.
At Anytime Fitness in Meridian, Idaho. So this woman, it came to me seriously out of shape and quite overweight. She is now down to, I think she said 18 pounds of less fat,
Wow.
but she's put on muscle and she's strong as can be. And this is a woman that had no concept of exercise. Yet today, when she walks into that gym, she's motivated, she's excited, she can push herself. When I tell her, hey, let's push a little further, don't sandbag on me, let's, don't make it easy, let's make it a little harder. She has no problem doing that. And she'll even say to me, hey, I think this is too light, let's go up one.
Huh.
But when I first met her, I could guarantee you that if I would have said to her, let's push, she would have said, no, I can't.
Yeah.
So it really is a matter of getting the mind connected to the body and knowing that you want to do this. So even when you've never had any experience exercising, if your mind says, I'm going to do this, it will do it. And you have to realize that everybody is different with this disease.
Yep.
So when I train this person this morning, it's way different than I'm training the person that comes in after her, the person that comes in after that one. Mm-hmm. Everyone has their own limitations and their own symptoms, and you've got to devise and create a workout routine that works for them and is easily adaptable for the next time that they come in. If they say to you, you know what, I'm having really bad symptoms, or I didn't sleep last night, you've got to quickly be able to adapt. Yep. And this is why I do all these certifications now, where I'm training other trainers on how to work with people with MS. So we've got the certification with the National Federation of Professional Trainers, which is an entry level. We just launched an advanced level certification with the MedFit Network, which is like ridiculous amounts of video. Yep. These are things that are important to me, as I want other trainers to be able to understand how to work with these people that never were able to work out or do anything with fitness before.
That's right. So we've jumped into now talking about basically a foundation that you and your wife started. So at some point you realized, hey, this is something I want to teach to other people. And you founded the MS Fitness, but sure.
Well, not really.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay. So how this happened is I got up on stage at the bodybuilding competition at 50 years old.
Yeah.
I got a standing ovation. I got this big trophy for most inspirational bodybuilder. It was actually a bigger trophy than the guy that won the contest. So I was really excited, and now I'm ready to go out. I'm ready to travel the country. I'm going to just keep competing, and I'm going to show everyone, Dave can beat MS. My wife Kendra, who's an RN, whose life was basically as a young kid on a mission field, she's got this big heart. She turns to me and she said, this is great. I mean, I'm very proud of what you're doing, but how are you helping anybody by jumping on stage and flexing?
Sure.
You know, what are you doing for the MS community other than inspiring them that you can do this? I said, I don't know, Kendra. I didn't start this for anyone. I started it to beat the disease myself. She said, well, let's think differently. How would God have you do this?
Yeah.
Do you have MS to just beat it yourself, or do you have MS to help other people? And that's how the MS Fitness Challenge started, by Kendra saying to me, stop looking in the mirror and start looking at other people. And I started doing that, and it was contagious because I started seeing we're helping people. We started in Minnesota with a 12-week challenge at a gym that was down there that the owners supported everything we were doing, and we helped so many people. We got these amazing video and written testimonials. We got on television, we are on radio, and I'm seeing all these people being impacted by this 12 weeks, and I'm seeing the trainers being impacted, saying that their lives are changing. And then I caught fire. I said, you know what? We're going to really blow this up. I didn't know how big it was going to get. I knew nothing about charities and how to run them, you know, and here we are, you know, 8 years later in 25 countries, helping hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. It's crazy. It's, you know, I tell people, don't look at me and pat me on the back because I didn't do anything. I'm just following, you know, where I feel led to follow, and I let God do the rest.
Your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and I've said the same thing with the work that I'm doing too. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you.
Right.
And that's why I think that was a beautiful moment. You know, first you start to kind of like, hey, look at me, but it's kind of like, this is really not about me anymore.
Right.
That's awesome. So you've had some interesting experience. You got a picture there with Schwarzenegger behind us, behind you, and now you're working with the Ferrignos in this foundation. So how'd you end up getting? So you've probably known Lou through your bodybuilding.
Yeah, Arnold actually reached out to me in 2015. Actually 2014. It was Christmas time, and he reached out and he said, "I want to give you an award at my Arnold Classic in March. Get yourself in shape because I'm going to have you flexing." And I'm like, Arnold, I'm not in condition. He goes, I don't care. You get in condition. And he gave me a Health Advocate Lifetime Achievement Award in front of 400,000 people. It was amazing. And he's never given that to anyone with MS before. So, you know, it was an honor. He was a really great guy. But Lou and I reconnected through some television things that we were doing. And I've known Lou since I'm like 20 years old from the gyms in New York. So it was just like when we saw each other, it was like, oh, you know, let's get back and do some things. And then his daughter Shauna, who's like, she calls me Uncle Dave, and you know, I mean, we're like all family. She said, you know, I want to help with the charity. And then, you know, Lou started endorsing the charity. Shauna is actually our lifestyle coach for the charity and is involved in it. So we're doing a lot of things together. We started what we call Every Rep is a Step Together, which is our program to help people with MS realize that every rep that they do is a step to getting better. So we're doing that. We just launched a YouTube television series we're trying to get on regular TV. We actually have some interest there, but we wanted to launch it on YouTube just to get people excited. It's called The Reset Plan. And that's Lou and Shauna going home to home, helping people that have challenges to fitness, not only exercise, but reset their whole lives and their homes and everything that they're doing to live a healthier and more vibrant lifestyle. So we just launched that. I think we have about 500 or more subscribers in just a few days already. So that's exciting.
That is really exciting,
And we're going to do an episode on MS, and I'll come on as an expert in fitness, and we'll work with someone, all of us, that has MS. So we're looking forward to that episode.
That's beautiful. I love that. So here now, you've gotten to the point, and I know before when we were corresponding, you've gone worldwide. You've got some big things coming up right now too. You mentioned a couple of things going on in the UK.
I was actually approached by a very popular journalist in the UK who does a lot of fitness writing and publications. And he said, I want to put you in two magazines, fitness magazines in the UK, and I want to help you to really get known here for what you're doing with MS. But on top of that, he was in a restaurant with 4-time UK fitness champion Joey Bull. And they were in a restaurant eating, and they were talking to a woman whose daughter had MS. And then this man, whose name is Guy, who's the journalist, said to Joey, I got to introduce you to David Lyons because he's doing some amazing things with MS. And she said, well, I would love to get involved. So we had a conference call on Zoom, and she's going to start promoting the charity in the UK. Wow. We're going to bring it there and start doing 12-week challenges there. And we'll see where that leads. But it was really amazing to have 4-time UK fitness champ Joey Bull come to me and say, I want to be part of what you're doing here in the UK. So that's exciting. We've got our training camp that we're doing in Los Angeles, May 1st to the 3rd, where people are coming from as far as Canada to come in for us to work with them. These are people that have MS, and we're speaking about fitness, exercise, nutrition, mindset. Shauna will be speaking. We have experts in the field. Stephen Gloss, who's our director of fitness, will be speaking there as well. Maureen Manley, Monica Pelly, all the people that are on our team will be talking and doing our hour and a half sessions with them. And then on Sunday, we have a full day of exercise. So I'm going to be teaching people with MS ways to use resistance bands that nobody is doing for people with MS. So it's pretty exciting. Wow. So we've got a lot of things going on. And of course, we have our 8-week online program, which is free as well, with my partners at MS Workouts. So msworkouts.com is a service that we have, which is a monthly service of people with MS that they pay for, and they have all different type of exercises that they can do, and it's really done extremely professionally. We've got the top neurological center in the country in Texas that we work with there. So we have that program, but to give people the opportunity to see what we're doing and to not have to pay for something, we do this 8-week challenge. And we just finished our second one. We had over 2,000 people with MS enrolled, and we're going to do another one. Our first one, we had 1,300 people. This one, we have 2,000. We expect to have over 3,000 in the third one that we do. And this is all free of cost for people with MS.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, David, I love the fact that, we're looking at a condition here, a chronic condition, a disease, if you will. I hate to call it a disease, but I guess it is.
It is.
But it's a condition that right now people have to accept and live with. And I love the fact that you're doing something that not only just improves their lives, but gives them that excitement back. That's just beautiful.
Well, it's important, for people with MS to look at this disease and say, you know what, I've got this thing,
right?
But I could live my life. I could do things that I want to do. I can have goals. I could climb a mountain if I want to. I could win a bodybuilding contest or enter a bodybuilding contest. I've worked with people in the U.S. and also I have a gentleman in the U.K. that actually competed in a bodybuilding competition with MS and came in the top 3. He looked so well. I trained him via the internet, and he was up there, and you would never know that he had MS. I worked with a guy on he was in a challenge at his gym, and he said, Dave, I want to be in the top 3. And he was the only one with MS. Everybody else was healthy. And the challenge was to get in the best shape as you can over this 12-week period. I gave him his diet. I gave him his workout routine. He won. He beat everybody, all the healthy people. He was number 1, and he had MS. And all he wanted to do was at least do well in this, and we had him win. So there's no limit to what you can do with this. And our goal with MS Fitness Challenge is to have as many people in the world that want to live a lifestyle fitness be able to do that, and to be able to do the things that they want, and to have goals that people said that they can't. When the doctor told me you would be in a wheelchair, I mean, that's what people tell people with MS. you can't do this or you can't do that. And it's not about what we can't do, it's about what we can do.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you buy into it and you believe it, then yeah, maybe you never will walk.
Number one key for fitness is mindset.
Yeah.
Number two is exercise. Number three is nutrition.
Yeah.
So if you don't have number one, the exercise and the nutrition will never happen. Because if you cannot wake up in the morning and say to yourself, I'm going to follow through and live that life, there's nothing else that matters from there.
Yeah.
You have to mentally, and I call it mental fitness, you have to mentally be fit to be able to be physically fit. The body will only go where the mind tells it to.
Wow. Yep. Beautifully said. And I couldn't agree more. So, well, David, why don't we tell the folks how they can find out more about your foundation and how to follow?
Well, the foundation is msfitnesschallenge.com. They could see what we're doing. They could, scroll through the pages. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of amazing videos of people that have gone from nothing to being able to, run and exercise. So that's exciting. They could see about the LA fitness camp that we're doing.
That's
also on Facebook, we have a group called the MS Fitness Challenge Gym. So we have the MS Fitness Challenge regular Facebook group, which is the charity page, but this is MS Fitness Challenge Gym, and people with MS and even people that have other challenges, I welcome them to be part of the group. And it's a closed group, so you have to, click to get in, and then we will have to approve them. But they should take a look at it, because tremendous amount of information on mindset, exercise, nutrition, and also alternative treatments for MS. So there's a wealth of knowledge in this Facebook group. So that's that. msworkouts.com is our monthly service. And if they go to YouTube and they go to the Reset Plan, they could watch my TV series with the Ferrignos.
How exciting. Great. David, thank you very much. This has been a really eye-opening and exciting thing that you're doing, using lifestyle, using fitness and nutrition to make better lives for people. I think, it's just fantastic.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you're doing. I mean, you're making a tremendous impact in the world for fitness. I mean, you're an inspiration with the weight you've lost and what you're doing right now. So thank you for having me. It was an honor.